DW Tailspins is not a bad episode of Arthur. This is the first segment in the 6th episode of the 4th season, and it starts off with Arthur actually not being very nice to DW and kind of making fun of the fact that she can't read books that aren't picture books and the fact that she can't write. And DW gets very upset and tells Grandma Thora what Arthur had said, and Grandma Thora points out that you don't need to be able to write to tell stories. And then, of course, mentioning that once upon a time stories were told orally rather than being written down. And DW takes this challenge upon herself to tell a story, which she tells to Arthur and Buster. And she begins to tell the story of the Odyssey. And it's interesting enough. We have characters from Arthur representing different characters within the narrative, such as Buster as the Cyclops, Francine's in it, I think Muffy was in it at one point. So that aspect of it is quite interesting. And I think for young children, the mythological element might be quite fascinating, particularly if they haven't seen these stories done to abundance before. But I feel like they should have edited back to DW and Arthur in real time a little bit more. I'd say the episode's, 10, 12 minutes? I'd say, off the top of my head, a good 7 minutes of this is just the narrative inside the narrative. And I feel like it became very slow and dragged quite a bit. And I think it should have cut back to DW telling the story at least a couple of times. It would have helped the pacing a little bit, would have made it a little bit less dry. But again, for younger children who are maybe very new to mythology, then maybe it would have been quite different and maybe there would have been enough there to captivate them. But personally, I found that it needed a bit more editing and needed to be chopped up a little bit just to keep the pacing going. Although I did love the sirens and Crazy Bus. I thought that was a pretty great idea. So it worked well enough. I liked the fact that there's a message there that even if you're too young to write or if you just have difficulty writing, you can still tell stories because they come from within. And I love that message. So it's doing a good thing, but I don't think the execution was quite as perfect as it could have been.